The ongoing saga where we talk about how the low-key range is now more punishing and hopefully forcing people to learn from their mistakes continues with this one here. This one's a little conflicting though, because the results are not what you might expect. But if you see the footage, you would hope that the players in this situation are absolutely the ones learning from it. Let's start with the very end of the run to give you context of what happens, and then we'll go through it all. Some things to note, we are in a 4 halls. Yes, welcome back to halls, our favorite place this season. And you see we have 40 seconds left in a 4. This is a tight 4. You don't see a lot of 4s submitted in general, but I'd imagine there's not a lot of them that are almost not upgraded. So we have about 25 seconds here at the end of the key, and we do upgrade it. I paused it. You see that? 15 deaths, about 25 seconds when the boss dies. 15 deaths. This is what we're going to be commenting on. Now, up in the top left, you're going to see the chat. As the boss dies, the Shadow Priest, you don't know anything about this guy yet, but just listen to the comment. He says, "This healer, oh my god, he let me die 8 times with like 6 periods," and then types "kidding." Now, right before that gets said, the person who recorded this was about to type something like maybe like, "I can't believe we upgrade this." We don't really know. I can't believe we actually upgraded this key with 15 deaths in a 4. We are going to go through all 15 of those deaths, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on them, and we are going to talk and also laugh at the fact that this is happening in this low of a key, but also talk, because the fact that there are 15 deaths in a 4 is substantial. Like, this means people must be seeing mistakes and hopefully learning from them. The only thing that bothers me a little bit about the run is that it is actually upgraded. Now, I'm not necessarily opposed to that, but I think this is one of the reasons people think that the timers are too lenient, and this is one of the reasons why that pesky punishment, extra like 15-second punishment for deaths was proposed. You guys weigh in on that, but regardless, in this low of a key, I do think that this is working as intended, and even though these guys probably shouldn't have upgraded this, I don't think it takes a non-upgraded key for them to reflect and to hopefully learn from their mistakes. Because to see these mistakes, like, okay, it's obvious, you are definitely making mistakes. This dungeon, I feel like the trash is actually very simple, but it is notable for having a lot of actual mechanics to it. And you're gonna see maybe right out of the gate that, you know, there's a lot of things that are hitting people but aren't necessarily killing people. We already reviewed this in the halls that we did when Cop submitted a halls 2, and it's not that dissimilar, but I think it still bears repeating, like just seeing it happen. Hopefully people understand that like these things are avoidable and that this is the only thing you need to be doing in especially a key this level. First example, here it comes. Seismic Slam, 3, 2, 1, boom. That fiery chicken is now turned into a Tauren with a Murloc suit. We love this Murloc suit, by the way. Wow, we see this thing a lot. I think it's particularly funny when you see a Tauren, a dead Tauren in a Murloc suit on the ground. That is like the funniest combination of those things. So that's one death. That's the number 1 death. You see the other one go out. People are moving out of it. Yes, good. People are learning it, whatever. I'm glad people are not getting hit by that constantly. So that is the first of 15 deaths, and that was on the Druid. Just pay attention to that. Pretty much all of these mobs do the same mechanics. They do this frontal. You might be able to see at the very top of the screen another dead Tauren in a Murloc suit. Number 2, that is also on the Druid. We're 2 for 2 so far. This time it wasn't the Seismic Slam. Hey, you know what? That maybe is that progress? You guys tell me. No, I don't think it is progress. 3, 2, 1. Okay, number 3 so far. This one's kind of funny. I've joked about this in the past, but look at the guy's actual character animation. Like, he's clearly targeting something that doesn't exist anymore and trying to cast, but nothing's happening. So his character is just like standing there dumbfounded, and it just gets leaped on. We've talked a million times about it. This boss, one of the harder ones in season 2, but it's actually a lot easier unless you're standing in front of them. I'm actually shocked. This mechanic used to not even have a visual, I'm pretty sure. So for seeing people still get hit by that, I mean, that's pretty bad. But at least we have a new name on the list. That's death number 4. That time it is to the priest. When these orbs die, they like explode, okay? You can tell the difference. Purifying Blast is the regular thing, then Nullifying Pulse is the explosion. And if you didn't catch it, I'm gonna rewind it, but there's our 5th death right there. You can see underneath like the Mythic Plus tracker info that the priest has a battle res, and it is from the paladin, and they're gonna take the battle res and instantly get hit by the Nullifying Pulse. It's actually crazy. It's like they're trying to time this. Look at the actual cast, and the second it ends, they get the res. Bottom of the 3 health bars, Nullifying Pulse. 2, 1, 0. The second it hits 0, they take the res and die to it. So 5 deaths, 3 to the Druid, 2 to the Priest now. Vote now. Who do you think will win the battle? A substantial amount of time has gone from the previous death to this death, so that's awesome. Here we are, though, at the biggest boss in the game, the big old frog. This guy is gonna probably eat these people up, right? That's what you'd expect. We have already shown so much funny footage of this boss, man. Like, it is actually the low-key pug killer in this season, and it is every season that it exists. Amazing clips from season 2 as well, and obviously this season's no different. Doesn't even look like they get hit by anything. They're straight up just like moving around when they die. Like, I don't see the rocks falling yet. No, they haven't even fallen yet. That person just straight up dies to damage. Their health is not even like low when it starts. Like, it just, every hit is just, look at that. That is 3 hits of the damage. Kills that person outright, dude. 3 hits, 3 ticks on a 4 fortified, just outright kills that person. Then we failed the soak, as is often happening in the low keys. So if it killed them before, it's obviously going to kill them again. Look at that one, hit them for over 50% of the health, and then they just die a second time to that same mechanic. So we just killed the boss with the Shadow Priest dead. Like, I think they were dead for every second of the fight. You can't see the damage chart, but they did 1 million damage to the boss total. Now, the guy actually comments on it. He says, I think I need more HP. And honestly, like, yeah, I kind of think that's all that needs to happen there. It is a pretty easy key. I mean, it's a 4 fortified, and if you die to 3 ticks of a single spell that goes off, like every single time it goes off, I think you're probably just not ready for this gear-wise. The mage that goes, you think? Like, I don't know, was it obvious? More health is definitely always better, and I think a lot of people discount that in Mythic Plus, especially in like lower level keys. But I'll tell you, more health will not help you with this mistake. Watch this. What is this decision? I don't even know how you do this. He literally takes the circle out of the group and into the other circle. The only thing I could think of is it's just like pure panic, or maybe he thinks it needs to be split or something, but like, yeah, literally runs away from the balance druid and just runs right into the other mechanic. Shaman says, with 428, I'd dispersion on CD, and the guy's actually 428. I mean, you would think it would be lower at this point. I think the funnier part about it is, look, they actually use dispersion. They use it as they're running to their death. This is just like low keys in a nutshell right here, I feel like. This fight going pretty well. We're having Bloodlust up at this point, but I think we elect not to use it. At first, I was a little suspect of this. You could definitely get a second one in, and honestly, that would have made the key a lot easier. But given the fact that we have such a limited amount of time left in this dungeon, it may be more pertinent to just take the time off the last boss. But yeah, you know, we're not done showing the deaths here. Move the webcam up to the top for now to watch this unfold here. You're going to need to see it bottom right. Before you do though, I think this part's funny. Watch, the mechanic comes out that you're supposed to run away from, and the druid just like hides. He just like line of sights himself. He's just standing behind the block. That's the broken block, by the way. Anyway, here comes the tornado. You know, these things are very windy and very loud, and sometimes you just can't hear them, and you might just get hit by them yet again. Another death. Is that 6-3 now? This guy's taking a commanding lead. But this guy loves being the underdog, so he is going to just refuse to line of sight, I guess. Like, yeah, he's still there casting, and you just see another dead Tauren in a Murloc suit there behind that block. So we've now done every single boss without the Shadow Priest alive at the end of it, and the timer is getting really tight because of that. I think like maybe in general you could say damage isn't great, but yeah, obviously that part isn't helping. I mean, right now we don't even have, like, I don't even know what the mage is doing. He's just like AFK back there. And especially now that we know you're only going to get this by like 20 some seconds, the decision making really starts to play into it. This 11th death is kind of hard to see, but if you pay attention to where the Shadow Priest is right now and follow the movements, you'll be able to see exactly what happens. They get hit really hard, maybe panic, and then like run in front of the pot and get hit by the wave as it passes. Watch again, they kind of like walk in front of the pot for what seems to be no reason. At that point, they release and run back, and now again, you know, ever the underdog, here comes the druid. He's going to do the exact same thing, only this time from the opposite angle. You know, you have the ability to run behind these pots, and then you don't take any damage from them, but these guys keep like crossing in front of them for some reason. I have no idea why. So he's trying to res, and that is not an option, buddy. Like, this is the decision making is really costing them here. We have multiple deaths. This druid is not releasing. The priest instantly recognizes that like there's not going to be a res here. They need to release and run back, and the druid is just sitting here dead. So we're going to fight this friggin' non-elite mob to try to get a regular res on this druid. And watch how this actually goes down, man. This is crazy. So the healer is going to stand right next to the pot, and honestly, like, I don't know what you're expecting, but yeah, the Aqua Wager just walks right up to him and auto attacks him right before he's done. We're wasting like a full minute on this one death here. When Blizzard says like, you know, they want deaths to be more punishing, like, can I just show them this footage? Like, I mean, this is what pugs look like, man. I get it, it's a 4, but realistically, this happens in every key, like no matter what the level. There's some people who just don't understand when they need to release and when they do, and sometimes they release and it actually causes issues, and sometimes they don't release and it causes issues. Anyway, at this point, everyone's back, and of course, we're struggling to survive. This mob is incredibly dangerous on any level, and we are going to see, like, you know, the same type of mechanic we saw from the druid before, just not doing very well. Watch it again. He is going to just be in melee range for some reason, and then like kind of just moving side to side in melee range there. I'm starting to get a feel for what this person's problem might be. I think they like legitimately are just unaware of things underneath them. I made videos about these types of deaths a while ago, and somebody said that it could be graphically related. I don't know that that's the case here, but like he's trying to dodge the wave. He sees the wave and then he moves out of the wave and then like moves back to the spot he was in, but just totally unaware that he's standing in a mechanic. So you guys tell me, like, is this a graphics issue? I don't know. I think if it is, man, like it's on the player. Like I get it, you know, not everybody has you know, funds or whatever to buy a computer that can run WoW well, but it's kind of not optional. Like I think maybe a lot of people just don't know about what setting they need to turn on. I believe it's like projected textures. You guys can comment down below. But anyway, while we were talking, we have our 14th death as well. I mean, this hallway basically just ruined the key on its own. Shadow Priest just standing there channeling a spell and just gonna move at like the absolute last second, and they get hit by it and get one shot by it. Ultimately, the 15th death here is gonna come. I mean, nobody's surprise is gonna come from the Shadow Priest. Pretty sure this guy just runs through a ball. Like I don't know what actually happens there. You can't see it. Luckily, we are on the same side as them. We see them land, and you see them kind of just like walk right up to them, like almost walk into that one, and then just randomly die a second later. So I have to imagine that they just committed to the suicide yet again. I mean, yeah, so 15 deaths across 2 players. I lost track. Is it 8 to 6? You guys comment down below if you're paying attention. Now, a couple of those were simply just like item level issues. And then again, reminding you that the Shadow Priest says, even in jest, by the way, you have to have a lot of balls to say this. This healer, oh my God, he let me die 8 times. Kidding. Yeah, I mean, I hope you're kidding. If you say that seriously, yeah, I hope you're kidding. Let's put it that way. Those kind of jokes, quote unquote, they don't really read like jokes to me at times, right? Like, is that a little bit of psychology there where the guy's actually trying to blame somebody else, but then kind of taking the blame himself too? I don't know. I always overread these things, but yeah, 15 deaths across 2 players, but they still upgrade the key. So that's the problem for me. Has it punished them enough? I don't know. Like there's a variety of issues going on here, and I just hope especially that priest is going to reflect on that, because they seem to be aware of it at least. The druid doesn't say a word, not a single word the entire key. Their deaths are probably worse. Those ones are simply just not moving out of key mechanics, and like they're really key. Like those mechanics will kill you on every level now. And if you can't, I mean, I don't know what the excuse, if you can't see them or you're just not paying attention to them or something like that, like you just can't do the key. You're basically seeing 2 players who are simply not qualified for the key they just did, and they still upgraded it. This was a huge issue for me in the past, because I do think there's a lot of players just kind of skating by in keys that they are simply not ready for. Now it is only a 4, but like, I mean, that's getting kind of high nowadays, right? Like what's next, a 5? Like who knows, next time they'll do halls, it might be not until like a 7 or 8, and then what's it gonna look like in there? So this may seem like harsh, and I recognize this as we're making the video, but like the reason I wanted to do this where I show every single death was because I want there to be some understanding of how many mistakes that were actually made in this key and how many instances that should be learned from in this key. I think there's a lot of people who probably just end the key and say, oh, I played bad, as like a blanket statement, like, oh, I didn't play very well. No, it's worse than that, man. Like there's a lot more worse than that. A couple of those deaths, like especially on the frog boss, like I don't really know how you survive that, but every other death, like come on, there's more than just playing bad. Like these are just pure positioning mistakes and things that you should be more aware of. So if the game didn't alert them to that, like, hey, welcome to the video, man. Like the video is now alerting you to that. So hard truths cut both ways, as a wise man once said. Anyway, thank you for watching. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys are out there running especially low keys or just any key in general that is causing either teachable moments, hilarious moments, something absurd, something abnormal, something that you think would be something that we should broadcast to the world, let me know. This one is not toxic. This one is very calm. Everybody's in a good mindset. So that is really good to see. Even with this many deaths, people are still having a good time, and they were able to get their upgrade because of it. So more like that is always welcome. Doesn't have to just be a disband. Thank you for watching. We will see you guys in the next video.